Welcome back for the Twin Flame update. I am late. I've been a bit under the weather today, but I had pulled the cards and I was mustering up the energy, and my guide said to me, come on, get moving. We need to have a look at this energy. One thing I have noticed over the last few weeks, and it was something I hadn't really mentioned as I was doing the channeled messages, is generally when I do the psychic energy, I will pull the in-between energy and the masculine and the feminine. And funny enough, my guides kept saying like there was a lot more energy coming from the bulk of the joint connection than there was coming from the masculine or the feminine side. So what I've done on this occasion, and that could be a very positive sign actually, so I'm just going to go with it, is the very fact that on this occasion I have pulled directly the joint connection. Okay. So could that mean a potential of a lot more like communication, changes happening in the direct connections, be it it's on the karmic side or, within the twin flame connection point blank zero, I'm getting a very strong signature that there is a direct change. It doesn't mean to say, and forgive me if I cough, like I said, I have been feeling under the weather, but I wanted to come to you guys and give you these messages. So as I mentioned, regardless of what your 3D situation is at this point in time, there is always transformation happening. There definitely can be portals where we're directly getting these kind of openings and reconciliations coming through. I do over the last 7 years, there was a real trend. We directly around 2017 had a lot of twin flames in communication. They were in the connection. We would call it the reunion stage. And I wouldn't definitely call it union. There were large groups that were going into that stage, but there definitely have been, it was almost like a cold case. That's directly what it went like. It was like, really inflamed around 2017. Every Tom, Dick and Harry and their cat were talking to their twin. And for some of you, it could have been, depending on the wave you were in direct communication or had some sort of an activation. And then as we moved into 2018, 2019, there were ins and outs, but it really did go cold for a while. This is one of those years, especially with the North Node in Aries, and that happened back in July. So not that long ago, we've just had the activation of it. And what we do see globally with the North Node in Aries is passion and fire and fires. It's heat. We're having heat waves and fires. So my thoughts and love to those of you dealing with that. But definitely it's the first house placement. So it's a very positive place for the nodes to be in the twin flame path, in the collective energy. It can be used in a malefic sense, but it's also, how can we be, there's, the whole notion of there's no I in team, but if you don't have your own axis of who you are, then how can you be in a team? Does that make sense? So this is going to be a very healthy ascension point for the collective to have revelations where we directly can choose ourselves. We directly can have choices in our lives to be bold and to be ourselves. Hi, Jan. How you doing, doll? Okay, so like I said, there was a lot to do with the joint connection and it being almost like it's coming to the forefront at this point. That's not to say that divine feminine at this point in time isn't going through a transformation stage. Now we have Spirit Keeper of the West and it's in reverse. Yeah, there's something of the past, and I do directly feel this directly can be the twin flame path. Overworked, that's Libra. Come on, we're used to that. Like I said, you can probably hear my husky voice. Had a co-worker at my other job and she was run down. Another person was run down, and it seems to be I've got it now. So, sharing's caring, right? So it feels as though there is something in the past coming back up, and it does feel it's to do with the twin flame path. This can be almost like that sliding doors energy. You could bump into this person, but this also spiritually can be something from the past coming back up in our lives to be reassessed, which makes sense. It's Venus retrograde. I only pulled 2 cards for the feminine, 2 cards for the masculine. The rest of it's the joint connection. Look, these can be subjects to do with injustices. We definitely can feel if there isn't harmony, if there isn't communication. how we spiritually feel inside our lives apart from the connection. This is how we can be feeling. It can feel a little bit out of sync, out of balance. And I directly do feel a lot of feminines at the moment can be fearing that we're going backwards when we're really going forwards. We're alleviating some of these blockages, but it is very psychological in nature. I also feel there could be this very strictness that is coming through with us. This can be with our wellness because we have Virgo transits. A lot of pressure on you, a lot of pressure, a lot of energy. How can you better look after your wellness? How can you better find that harmony in life? But again, it's all these odd things coming up. And this can be things coming at left field, where you directly don't feel as harmonized and balanced. The other thing I was getting is that divine feminine is feeling almost this innate nature that they need to be a masculine inside their own lives. Now, that could be in a hunter-gatherer fashion. It could be from an intuitive point of view that you feel you need to protect yourself. That can be financially, emotionally, physically, however it's landing. But I do get this very strong vibe that you're having this feeling that you need to balance both the masculine and the feminine side. So if this can be regarding the connection, or it could be because of a circumstance or a psychic download you're having, always really trust those things. They generally don't lead you astray, and they're generally indications of a psychic download that are preparing you for the future. So if there is something to that degree that's coming up for you, try and trust your instincts and work with it. This can be moving things about. Nevertheless, I do feel there is it's almost like, some of you could be wondering in the joint connection, and this comes up a lot. What is the purpose of the twin flame path? We generally hear about the notion of, what's the term? And we constantly hear it in the twin flame community. Getting on mission, right? What is the mission? There is going to be some indication of what that situation is. I feel the further you ascend, you do get it. But it's also to do with getting back on track with the spiritual connection. It's not just, how would I put it? It doesn't feel it's about it's more than union. It is more than union. But a lot of you, depending on, what's been playing out with you, my guides are almost saying, some of you can be really questioning what was the whole notion of the twin flame path for, especially because we go through a lot of healing and we're kind of like, so, okay, I've healed. I've been through this separation. So where is this person? If you are quite perplexed by that, it's perfectly natural. There is a physical movement coming, and these answers are going to be given to us, I feel, in the next few weeks. But there's also a perspective shift, and there is a mission that both parties are on. But yes, there is the romantic element of that situation as well. Sometimes when we hear soul mission, we get it down to the real grit and the basics, and it seems really tedious. It almost seems like a job. It's like, oh, okay, I've been cursed. Look, this is coming from a person who's been on the journey 25 years. So if you feel differently, it depends on the stage you're in your path. When we do get into that frustration level, it is very natural to go, okay, what is the big deal with this path? The further in your journey you get, you do realize in order to get to union, there is a lot of healing. But that can make us very pessimistic because we do directly think, look, if there's no reward, why are we going to hell and back for no reward, right? And that's, like I said, it's very natural. Say throat chakra. So there is a pessimism element that is coming through within the twin flame path. Rising above it can be one way we can address it. But again, when we are having these downloads, when we are having these feelings, we're sort of sending out to universe that we're wanting some element of the phoenix rising, some element of movement, also some sense of clarity. And I do feel that both parties here in the mix are really wanting that clarity. There are some karmic cycles that I always look at this as a karmic cycle. This card here, especially because it is directly positioned in the past tense position, sort of like that notion of we reap what we sow. But again, I don't feel this to be a negative thing. I do feel the seeds that you planted are going to reap some rewards. They may need tending to, caring for a little bit more. But again, I do directly feel in your twin flame path, it's not going to be for nothing. I do feel at the moment, the notion of feeling cursed can come about for some of you. But I want to pull a clarifier on this because it's almost like this movement. If there is an element of stagnation, I do feel that universe is kind of trying to protect you. But I also feel there is going to be sudden movement very quickly, and we're needing a day or two to recover. And especially this weekend, there was a lot to do with recovery. I did see the Soldier card linking to Divine Masculine. I do feel Divine Masculines also are under a great deal of stress, but they are very focused on the bigger picture in the future. Okay, what is this? They come out again. They come out again. Look, they have had hard yards as well. Sometimes, yes, can we be critical on ourselves? I do feel Divine Masculine has actually been looking at the fact that some of the things that did occur in their life were from their own hand. Can they be cross at themselves? Yes. Mars and Virgo, the position of the sun, it is making us really cast an eye on the devil in the detail. This also can be just looking at things with a fine-tooth comb. They've come out twice now, and this is with the frequency of the forward momentum. This can be around family and home. I'm also feeling point blank zero. There might have been some very spiritually taxing situations that have been happening where they did directly feel quite cursed. They're sort of turning this energy about now, and they're feeling directly they do have the power and they do want to address things. So it is coming through quite assertively. And I do feel in the days coming, it's almost like they're going to have some revelations of what the solutions are. Yeah, they don't want to make any risky moves because they don't want to hurt you any further. So they're well aware of the fact that these circumstances do stress you, that you have been hurt before. This could have been by their hand and others, but they don't want to bring you. They don't want to bring you grief. They do want to bring this in a correct way so that it can alleviate some of the stress and it can be more flowing like a river on herring. God, they're being really harsh on themselves today. Okay. Yes, again, we do have the guilt of, okay, could I have chosen a different path? Could I have done this differently? There's the self-loathing energy that does come through, and I do feel this energy is coming through Divine Masculine. It's almost like when we do realize habits and patterns that we've had, and we do value the individual, Divine Feminine, when we do see the blockages that then have occurred because of avoidance or choosing different paths, we can become very frustrated with ourselves. I do directly feel there is a worry that because of this, it would be a karmic close or it will be karma upon them, and they don't want to lose you. There is this fear that they will lose you. We do have the theft card here. Some of them also are being very careful with their finances. Again, they're making reference to a third-party energy. I do feel, particularly, this is a previous situation. I don't feel it's a newer situation. For some, it can be. There could have been money entanglement. And for some, not all, children involved. Okay, there can be some dynamics that are happening at the moment. What are they making reference to? 1 minute. Okay, they're making a reference to wanting to be with Divine Feminine, and this could be at a very, very serious, almost marriage. It does feel quite serious. But there are some situations that they do feel they need to address that are going to be problematic if they don't address them. For some, they are a bit concerned about a father energy. This can be a parent. For some, this is an ex or a person directly that they're trying to separate away from. They also do want to be able to, especially for those that are more single, they're wanting to leave a legacy behind. This legacy is more for you. There can be a contract that is coming to a close. For some, this can be a work-related dynamic. For some, it seems that they are connecting with a professional. This can be an advisor. Again, we do need to be very careful with intuitive and tarot readings. Hi, sweet. This can be the card of getting legal advice. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not telling you to go get legal advice. But this is kind of how it feels. It feels like it might be a professional getting a divorce, severing a contract. It just feels something professional in nature. They do feel once they address whatever the situation is, it's going to be a turn for the best. This is an old cycle. I do feel the ball is already rolling for this. For many, they are directly planning this new beginning with you. You may not believe in the attitudes and the steps directly that they're taking, that there's movement, but they're really showing me that a lot of these steps are quite practical steps, quite logical steps. This could be because the individuals that they have dealt with, they are very privy to who they are, and they're really trusting their instincts with how to address them. They do want the situation with you to be very perfect. Yeah, they're just making reference to wanting it. And it's not that it's going to be all tidy and neat like a bow. But the main concern that they're having is whatever this is that they're wrapping up, they do feel that it's very necessary for it to be addressed, or it is going to cause conflict future tense. The funny thing is, I really don't think this is something that is going to be lingering on for months and months. I do feel this is almost at the table, dealing with paperwork, addressing situations, having candid conversations. I feel it's between, I feel it's very soon. I feel it's in the midst of happening. The big question, although this is the joint connection, this could be some questions that many of you have had. That's why we get these very choppy, spiritual, in and out kind of messages. It can be because there's various people in the collective that have these overarching themes that they're asking. I do feel Divine Feminine does have a lot of questions. They do really want to be able to ask it directly to their twin, okay? They do want to hear it from this person. For some of you, you could directly be in communication and communicating with them, and it's about finding that way to actually articulate what these things are. Try not to fear asking these questions. In general, from my experience, especially over 7 years coaching twins and love point blank zero, you can't break something that is very, spiritual. So it's okay to ask those questions. Whether we get the answer is another thing. But again, you're chipping away to get it down to the transparency. Interesting. Okay, some of you have a twin that is aware that at times you wonder whether they have learned their lesson. Some of you may be asking this question because they are currently with a karmic. They are saying, just because I'm with a karmic doesn't mean to say I'm not learning my lessons. They're also making reference to the fact that they are reaching closure, and many of them have reached closure. There's no question. It's really funny. It's almost like the thought of love and the connection and offering you something. It's not that problems go away, but it does feel that it's more authentic when we're with people that accept us for who we are. I do feel divine masculine really does miss that about the spiritual connection, and they do feel more in duality around you. Yes, you will know if there is a white lie. You will also know if that directly is going to impact you. Your intuition is on point. It always has been. Okay, for some of you especially, some of you could get an energy in the next week where your twin is feeling quite down and anxious. This particularly could be because you are having this feeling and attitude that you need to move forward. Some of you, they're actually psychically picking up on the fact that you have been thinking about moving forward with a person. And this is only going to be for a set group of you. It's not going to be for all of you. It's very common to actually pick up psychically. The further into the journey you get, it is very common for the psychic energy to be very large. What you can pick up is if they are going to get a phone call from someone, if they're having a bad day, you're just going to intuitively really pick up on those things. I do firmly believe the masculine gets that vibration too. If there has been something in your aura where you have been going left and right, and you've really been thinking, is it safe? Can I proceed? Is it going to be okay? And there is someone coming in and they are being super nice to you. This can be unfinished business with a past tense person. I do spiritually feel that they're actually picking up on it. They're definitely making reference to the fact that this connection is a lifetime connection. It's almost like it's coming back on the table. Let's get a ruin cast, and we're going to get an Abraham Hicks. But there is an energy argument going on here. I'm hearing the term believe it when I see it. What was the... Oh, yeah. Okay, something from July really did pop off for Divine Masculine. I read Divine Feminines, but I didn't read Divine Masculine's 2 cards. You know, there's particular cards in this deck. This one, for instance, reminds me of Pluto, unfinished business. Something old. We have, again, in order to have a new beginning, we are addressing an old situation. And this card, I always get this card, Christmas in July, celebration. So I get it in a sense of signatures of dates. Could be anniversaries, could be the person's physical birthday. It could be an event that's coming up. Again, I get this as July. We had the nodes move in July. Something hasn't been quite right for them since then, but the revelations have been landing. And I feel August is kind of like that activation and that squeezing out and taking a critical look at such. The ruin cast we have is sort of going through a transformation. Let's read it. So fitting. Herb Daisy. He loves me not. She loves me not. Element air. We are having Mercury go retrograde. It's the infinity, really, isn't it? Time. It is the last ruin in the mystical ruin row and signifies the eternal weaving of beginnings and endings. In many traditions, the new beginning at sunset rather than dawn, thus darkness preceding by the light. We are having a morning star. There is a rebirth of divine feminine at this point. This is also in all elements of love and Venusian energy going to be a rebirth. So some of the signatures of the things we like, the food we like, styles, feelings, they're going through an evolution and change. Try to not put everything in such a cemented term right now, because there is almost this spiritual death and rebirth through the cycle at this point. New beginnings, awakenings, transformation, breakthrough, clarity, synthesis, growth and hope. It is a completely positive ruin cast, promising a new dawn, the emergence of night. It celebrates the mystery of creation itself and replacement of the darkness. The sun is about to smile on you. Reversed, it simply means a wake up. And I do see that. I sort of see from last month, it's almost like this feeling of, look, getting on the path, getting on mission, the ambition of what our spiritual lives are, especially in the joint connection. It's almost calling both parties back. Whoa, that just jumped out. Yeah, it's calling both parties back. And Divine Feminine is kind of feeling, in order to move forward, that, it's almost like this paranoia that we're going to hear something, that we're going to have something really shift very suddenly, like we're in the eye of a storm. Okay, one more. What is this that is coming? It's to do with our dreams. Okay, journey across water, imagination, intuition, artistic, creative fluidity, soul journey, psychic powers, initiator of dreams, fear of change and procrastination. We're in the eye of the storm. This ruin cast, especially in an ocean of dreams and Neptune, we have Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, and it's retrograde. We are almost intuitively, really realistically trying to look at our dreams, especially because the 5D element of things can be that, but we can get very stuck in it, and it's retrograde, unmotivated, really not knowing up from down. I do feel whatever this is, with Venus retrograde, Mercury gearing up ready to be retrograde, we're going through this whirlwind transformation where it can be crosswise, rethinking, critically looking at dynamics, having breakthroughs, communication, especially from a healing point of view. There's a lot to do with the heart chakra at the moment, and definitely throat and third eye. This is coming through the darkness. Pain and struggles may proceed by a soul re-emerging into the light. I do feel, don't be afraid of this rebirth. Many times when we do directly look at the connection in the 3D, we're sort of saying to ourselves, nothing's happened. We had a big blow up July. Yeah, lots of shifts, the nodes moving out of Scorpio, which was all those undercurrents. We had the eclipse. I can always enter my vortex. I'm telling you, getting into the vibration and recovering at this point, moving into Monday, Tuesday, I think is going to be pretty important. This card drops down to a 6, and there is to do with our vibration. It's really funny. I have over the last few days noticed how, and some of you also could pick this. It's almost like your words hold weight. Your feelings, if you're very tired, we're more inclined to have negative thoughts, especially on the journey and especially in life. But if we go to sleep and we try to wake up the next day, generally our vibration is going to be different, and it's the vortex. So it can be saying to yourself right now, through this rebirth, we're shedding things. This can be emotions and baggage we've been holding on to, feelings that we've been having inside this connection, almost second-guessing ourselves and criticizing ourselves. I do directly feel this is a time where if we do get into our vortex, like the laws of attraction, we're directly attracting this back in. Heart-centered energy of the Divine Masculine, please. And I think I might pull a tarot card. Divine Feminine. Yeah, it's definitely saying, attached to that, wow, what am I really grateful for moments, especially if you're seeing the 1-400, very positive omen. This card's a 41. Whenever we are in our twin flame path seeing the 1-400, it's generally saying or you were slipping, don't second guess yourself. You're on the right path. Yes, you're asking, go into your heart, ask. Don't ask universe if your twins returning. Go into your heart and believe it to your core. And that is what is attracting this person back in. Divine masculine is also realizing flawed premises can attract true unwanted evidence. Has there been some excuses that things are going to go pear-shaped? Yes, I do feel so. But they're also having revelations that things can be different. This is also the masculine attribute of things, looking back on the past, realizing we can't change those things. But the one thing we're really wanting to change is our direct future. It's all we have left, right? We can't directly change the past, but we can change the here and now of what we have. And I do feel they're becoming quite a conscious energy. They are starting to get into harmony with this. They're also realizing some of those karmic cycles. It's almost like, look at the way this person's holding their hand, really feeling obliged to address other people's karma. This could have been holding on to tribe, holding on to a karmic romantic partner. This could have been because of children or financial situations. Whatever this entanglement is, they're having a revelation. Is it really something that they have to do? Whatever that is for them at a personal level, there is a big revelation here. I'm going to sit with it for a second. I'm going to see if they want me to look any further. I don't know why I feel this argument. I do feel an argument here. I do feel there's a pocket group of divine feminines that are feeling quite wary. How you see yourself is not how they see you, and that's a positive thing. Some of you are being too critical on your appearance. They hold you in high regard. Some of them are making references to your nose. They actually like your nose. They're also making reference to your eyes. And something about touching your face. They can always tell when you're upset. It comes through in your tone. For some of you, there's a reference to a garden. One, two, three. For some of you, there can be a complication in family. This could be family-related dynamics. It could be if they have children, you have children, and you really can't see the hay for the clouds, and you're really confused about how you're going to make it merge. Universe is going to provide you opportunities for that to be so. They're asking you to leave your worries to Gaia. Some of you, there is a reference to your twin being near water. This could be a pool, it could be a lake, it could be a river, it could be an ocean. There is a context of you linking to this also. I get some random messages. Now I'm hearing the song Watermelon, and for some of you, it could be very important or referencing. Some of you at a point, like I said, they're making some real random statements. It could be for some of you in the room as I'm channeling these messages. There is a twin here that is a little bit like, they are quite protective, and I feel this is for a group of you that actually are in direct communication. They're making reference to your ties. It's almost like they're nagging you. Get your ties sorted. I do see a romantic getaway here. There is a reference to a meeting place. I don't know that this feels really old stuff. This is very nostalgic. Some of them are making references to this could be a park or a location that you first met. It could be like a secret meeting place. They did really feel that they would be at that future point of where you both were going to be. They are wanting something more simple in their life. This can be the way they live. This could be living off the land, or it just feels like a simpler way of living. They have felt you to be impeccably generous over the years. They did feel there was a time where you needed to replenish your kind of, this could be finances, your vibration, your energy, recovering those things, you know. Let's get a few more. They're wanting me to move on from that. We'll go where they take us. They're making reference to a physical ending with the circumstance. It's going to happen quite abruptly. It's almost at their own hand, but it's something they feel they need to do in order to liberate themselves. Some of them I do feel are very, this could be almost like their psychic energy is waking up. They may not even link it as psychic, but it does directly feel like premonition-y to me here. Okay, there's something quite big that's going to go down in a family. This could be quite suddenly. Yeah, it is in a family. There could be, yeah, it's quick, whatever this is. I'm seeing the tree. I'm seeing the tower, you know, the tower almost signifying the physical, you know, environment. But look at the tree linking to family. There is a worry also, connecting to the twin flame path. They're noticing in a pattern sense there's a lot of times you go through something before they go through something. And many times from your experience, you may feel that that ascension process, that 3D circumstance might be 20 times heavier. I also feel that they are going to go through something quite big too. I'm definitely noticing the yin-yang symbol on the tower. There also could be a karmic breakdown. This could be a cutting away of this circumstance, a knowingness of what they need to be their more authentic self. Feels very sudden. Okay, what does the twin flame collective need to know, please? Who they value, what they value is changing. If your counterpart was very focused on wealth, it's almost like a turning, a changing of fortune. I also think there is a change in values here. This can also be for both parties in the mix. When you hear, some of you could hear about this Tower moment. It can put the wheels spinning in your mind of what the outcome's going to be, how it's going to go. How is that directly going to impact you? Your guides are asking you not to stress. The answers are going to come. It's going to be different than you think, but they're also making reference to it's going to be okay. Yeah, you're definitely going to get some gossip. You're getting gossip, I'm telling you. This is going to feel like you are jumping in the deep end. This could be from an emotional point of view or how you're going to handle the news. I also feel for some of you, you are going to communicate, and it could just, like they're going to communicate with you and it could really floor you. Yeah, it could really floor you. I really don't feel some of you are expecting it. It's almost like, it's over and done with. But this is unfinished business to the highest octave. Definitely unfinished business. Some divine feminines are actually dealing with, how do I explain it? There is a pocket group of you at the moment that can be going through a very difficult time. This can be with your career, with believing in yourself. Is it going to be okay? Am I going to be able to be okay? A lot of these spiritual tests that you're going through right now is to show you that you can. I do feel there's a possibility of twins moving into a home together. This can also be the person turning up at your home. Some of you are going to hear about them leaving a home. They're making reference to home. There's definitely a different direction here. This could give you a skip in your step, whatever this is. There is a challenge here for a pocket group of divine feminines. They're really making reference to the fact they find you very attractive. They find you very beautiful. I do feel divine feminine is playing it safe, and for given reasons, totally understand. There is a lot to do with the heart chakra being healed. This person's intention is to communicate and to kind of get to the crux of situations. Some of you are saying they're not going to dare because they're not going to feel comfortable enough. Yeah, there is a trust thing here. Makes sense. Your guides are asking you to understand that you can handle this situation. Never in your ascension process or with the new communication with your twin is it ever going to be the same. Many of you are looking at this. Am I going to be okay? Am I going to get wooed? Are they going to hurt me again? And they're asking you to cast those worries aside because your intuition and your confidence always leads you to address these things in a different way. Okay, so they're asking you not to worry about those things from an intuitive level. If you case the situation and you felt, maybe it was not a safe situation. I just don't spiritually feel you would, you deal with it differently. Some of you are feeling like you need to get on a health kick and really start to take care of yourselves. This could be from a, spiritual point of view, or just 3D, like you're ready to have a change. I do feel a pocket group of you going on a holiday. I do feel some of you are going to bump into this individual, and I just don't feel you're going to expect it. Some of you are wanting to get your sexy back. It's like, I want to get my sexy back. I want to feel myself. I want to feel my own vibe. They're also making reference to, I love the way they do that. Just add a karmic reference in there. They're making reference to what's on the surface isn't what directly is happening behind closed doors. For some, they're not being intimate in a karmic relationship. It's not attracting them. They see beyond the veil. But something in the situation has changed, and I do directly feel this Tower coming. I hope this helps. I'll see you next week. Hopefully, you can give me a heads up how this landed for you, and I'll see you soon.